I'm 32. I'm the guy my family thought would just roll over when things got messy. The quiet one. The agreeable one. The one who never makes a scene. Maybe I used to be like that. But when my grandparents passed, everything changed. They left their entire estate to me. A house, savings, shares, worth just under $900,000. Something inside me shifted. I started paying attention. I started listening closely. I started planning. I knew exactly what kind of people I was related to. My brother Lucas, he's 3 years younger. Flashy, loud, charismatic. The kind of guy who can lie to your face. Gets you to loan him $5,000 for a sure investment. He's gotten away with so much over the years. Credit cards in mom's name. A borrowed car that mysteriously vanished. Every time, mom bailed him out. Said he was just figuring things out. But me? I was always the responsible one. The backup plan. The safety net. I was done playing that role. When Grandpa passed 2 years ago, a year after Grandma, he left the estate to me. I wasn't surprised. I'd been their caretaker. No one else bothered to call, let alone visit. I drove them to appointments. Handled grocery runs. Managed endless paperwork. Lucas? He'd show up on Christmas morning. Take photos for Instagram. Vanish until the next holiday. When the will was read, my name was the only one on it. I saw Mom's face. Tight-lipped. Disappointed. Like I'd taken something that wasn't mine. That's when I knew a storm was coming. The house was the big piece. A gorgeous old Victorian. Deep red bricks. Tall windows. Ivy crawling up the sides like a movie set. A historic property, passed down 3 generations. My grandparents kept it in near-perfect condition. The neighborhood's value had exploded over the last decade. Every house around it was gutted and flipped. But my grandparents never sold. Now it was mine. I didn't move in right away. Kept my apartment across town. Quietly got everything in order. Had the house appraised. Talked to an estate attorney. Set up a trust. Not just for the house, for everything. Didn't tell Lucas. Didn't tell Mom. Didn't tell anyone. Kept the original deed in a secure location. Placed the property, title, assets, savings in an irrevocable trust. I was the trustee. Even moved the utilities under a business name tied to the trust. Cost extra fees, but I didn't care. I knew my family too well. I knew they'd try something. For a while, it was quiet. Too quiet. Lucas texted a few times. Asked if he could use the pool. There's no pool. Mom dropped hints about how unfair it was. Said everything went to just one person. Even said, your brother was always Grandpa's favorite. As if that meant something. I just nodded. Changed the subject. Didn't argue. Didn't correct them. Let them think I was naive. Let them think I hadn't taken precautions. The tension kicked off last month. Lucas started posting vague stories on social media. Big things coming. Next chapter loading. That kind of nonsense. One Saturday, I was at the house doing yard work. Nothing fancy, just keeping up the landscaping. Then Mom's car pulled into the driveway. Lucas hopped out first. All grins and sunglasses. Like he was arriving at a photo shoot. Mom followed, carrying a clipboard. Smiling like she was about to cut a ribbon on a new development. Hey, man, Lucas said, clapping my shoulder. We've got some news. I raised an eyebrow. Mom stepped forward. We spoke to a lawyer. Turns out the house should have gone to both of you. Your grandfather made a mistake not updating the will after Grandma passed. Don't worry, we handled it. I stared at her. Handled what exactly? Lucas pulled a folded paper from his back pocket. Waved it in the air. We had the house title transferred to my name. It's already done. You're gonna need to be out by Friday. No hard feelings, right? We'll give you time to grab your stuff? I didn't say anything for a moment. Just looked at them. One, then the other. Taking in their smug faces. Their pure audacity. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't panicking. Honestly, I almost laughed. They really thought I was that stupid. I gave them a smile. Small. Polite. The kind that makes people nervous. You really think I'd let that happen? Lucas laughed like I'd told a joke. It's already happening, dude. You've been living in fantasy land too long. Mom stepped in, softening her tone. Like she thought it would help. We're not trying to be cruel, Ethan. It's just practical. Lucas can manage the property. Maybe flip it. You've got your own place anyway. This way, everyone wins. I didn't argue. Just nodded slowly. Said, got it. 2 days later, they came back. This time with a moving truck. A pair of hired movers. I'd been expecting it. They pulled into the driveway like they owned the place. Laughing, shouting at each other. Lucas in the passenger seat, sipping coffee. Mom directing the movers toward the front door. But then they saw the porch. I was standing there, arms crossed, beside a tall man in a navy suit. He held a thick folder. Wore a badge clipped to his belt. The folder had my trust's name on it. A name they didn't recognize yet. The badge was real. The suit was real. The man was from the county office of property records. They froze. Lucas stepped out first, confused. What's going on? I didn't say a word. The man in the suit did. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. Calm authority, like he'd done this too many times. Held the folder under one arm. Glanced at a paper in his hand. Are you Lucas Carter? He asked. Lucas frowned, thrown off. Yeah, who's asking? I'm with the county office of property records. Here on behalf of the legal trustee of the East Thornhill estate. That's this property. He pointed behind him at the house. I have documentation. The deed's been in a trust since April last year. Under the management of Ethan Carter. Any claims made on the property's ownership since that date, including a fraudulent title transfer, are not just invalid, but criminally prosecutable. Lucas's face drained of color. Fraudulent, he muttered, looking at Mom. What's he talking about? Mom stepped forward, lips tight. There must be some mistake. We had a lawyer look at the old deed. It was still in Grandpa's name. We assumed. You assumed wrong, I said, breaking my silence. I never left the property in my name directly. It's owned by a trust. That's why you couldn't find any record in the public logs. You went to some shady title mill. Tried to fake a transfer based on an outdated document. Mr. Thompson nodded. I've already filed a fraud report on the attempted title claim. Normally, we'd send a warning first. But given the circumstances, bringing movers, threatening occupancy, trying to evict the legal trustee, we're skipping straight to enforcement. Lucas blinked. Enforcement? I turned to him, spoke plainly. It means if you set one foot in this house without my permission, you're trespassing. And if you try to tamper with the trust or its assets, you're looking at charges. Multiple. For a long, awkward second, no one spoke. The movers stood halfway between the truck and porch, looking like they'd walked into a domestic minefield. One coughed, started backing toward the van. Lucas found his voice. You're seriously doing this to family? My voice was calm. Too calm. Family? You showed up with a forged title and a moving crew. Tried to steal my home. The one thing Grandpa and Grandma wanted me to have. Don't talk to me about family. Mom's jaw clenched. They were confused, Ethan. They didn't understand. No, I said sharply, cutting her off. You didn't understand. You thought I'd be the same pushover I was at 20. The kid you could guilt into giving up his weekend to babysit Lucas's drama. Or float alone because you needed it just this once. But I'm not that kid anymore. I learned. I listened. I prepared. Mr. Thompson flipped through the folder. Also, just so it's clear, we've alerted the local precinct. If either of you attempt to return under any property claim, there'll be a file ready to go. Civil and criminal. Lucas's eyes flashed, but he said nothing. He turned to the movers. Snapped, we're leaving. Didn't look at me again. Mom lingered for half a second. Mouth slightly open, like she wanted to say something. Maybe one last manipulation attempt. Nothing came out. She followed him without a word. The truck pulled out of the driveway. I watched the taillights disappear down the hill. It was quiet again. That heavy quiet after a years-long confrontation. Mr. Thompson handed me a copy of the filed report. Call if they come back, he said. I thanked him. After he left, I stood on the porch. The same porch where I used to sit with Grandpa. He'd talk about knowing your people. Not their words, but their patterns. Their habits. Don't judge people by what they say in a moment, he'd say. Judge them by what they do when they think you're not watching. He was right. I'd watched. I'd acted. But that wasn't the end. 3 days later, I got a letter. Typed, formal, from a lawyer hired by my mom. Claimed emotional distress. Argued she had a moral and familial right to part of the estate. Demanded compensation for mental anguish from being excluded. Attached a list of reasonable reparations. $150,000 in cash. Joint ownership of the family home. A monthly allowance until further notice. I stared at the paper, numb at first. Then my hands shook. Not with fear, with fury. She wasn't finished. And now, neither was I. I read that letter 6 times in silence. Set it down on my desk. First few reads, I tried to make sense of it. Hoped she didn't mean it the way it sounded. By the 6th read, no more denial. My own mother put her name on legal stationery. Tried to bill me for not letting her and Lucas steal what was mine. It wasn't the money that got me. It was the entitlement. The gall to call it a misunderstanding one day. Then demand $150,000 the next. Like this was a business dispute between strangers. The phrase that stuck, familial obligation. As if loyalty only flowed one way, up to them. As if I was born to give, they were born to take. I didn't respond right away. Knew better than to react emotionally. Called Mr. Thompson. He put me in touch with an estate attorney, Laura Bennett. Early 40s, soft-spoken, razor-focused. Didn't bluff because she didn't need to. I gave her everything. Trust documents. Mom's lawyer's letter. Screenshots of Lucas's next chapter social media posts. Within a day, Laura filed a formal cease and desist. Against both of them. Message was clear, the trust was airtight. Legally shielded. They had no standing. But Laura didn't stop there. She dug deeper. Found Lucas had forged multiple signatures. For the bogus title transfer. Used a fake notary stamp. Filed it through a sketchy online registry in another state. Hoping it wouldn't show up in our county records. Laura contacted a fraud investigator with the county DA's office. They were already looking into that registry for other forged filings. Lucas became their low-hanging fruit. I didn't tell them I knew. Let them keep digging their hole. And they did. 2 weeks after the cease and desist, another letter came. Less formal, from Mom directly. Typed, but her voice. Full of passive-aggressive lines. After all I've done for you. You were always the quiet one. I raised you to be better than this. Ended with, you can end this now by doing the right thing. Family shouldn't need lawyers to settle what love can resolve. I didn't respond. Laura advised against it. Forwarded the letter to her. She added it to the file. For a possible restraining order later. Then the kicker. One morning, a folded flyer in my mailbox. Jammed in the door handle like a high school prank. Lucas's handwriting. Hope you're enjoying playing king of the castle. Remember who's got your back when the money runs dry. I laughed. Quiet, tired laugh. Realizing he didn't know how far I'd outgrown him. Scanned the note. Added it to the file. Made a decision right then. No more just defending myself. I was pushing back. Lucas was already being looked at for real estate fraud. Laura pointed out we could prove intentional malice or harassment. Escalate things. Criminal courts would do their part. But there was another arena to hurt Lucas. His credit. His record. His job. He'd landed a position at a boutique real estate firm. Flashy place, more Instagram than compliance. They prided themselves on transparency and ethical property transfers. Would they be proud of someone who tried to steal a house with forged paperwork? I didn't act impulsively. I waited. Then something unexpected happened. My cousin Sarah, who I hadn't spoken to in years, reached out. Facebook message, hey, can we talk? Your mom's been calling family, saying things. I figured you should know. Met her for coffee the next morning. Sarah, always no nonsense. Straight shooter. Showed me texts, voicemails, a group chat with 2 other cousins. Mom had started a smear campaign. Said I manipulated Grandpa in his final years. Convinced him to change the will while he was declining. Hinted I took advantage emotionally, legally, maybe medically. I felt sick. This wasn't about the house anymore. Or the money. Or Lucas. This was about control. Mom couldn't stand that I'd said no. That I'd protected something from her grasp. Now she wanted to ruin me for it. Sarah looked at me across the table. I don't believe her. Neither do Emily or Matt. But she's not stopping. She's calling everyone. I nodded slowly. Heart beating harder than I wanted. Thanks for telling me. Didn't sleep much that night. Realized if she'd lie to the whole family. Assassinate my character to pressure me. I had to finish this. Not just for me. To make sure she and Lucas never did this to anyone else. Spent the next 2 days in my study, planning. The trust was legally secure. But the smear campaign was spreading. Sarah's warning came just in time. Damage was growing. Got vague texts from distant relatives. Just checking in. Heard some stuff, hope it's not true. Mom was setting a trap. Pressure from relatives. Whispered guilt. Gaslighting from every corner of the family. Forcing me to be the bigger person. Hand over something for peace. I saw it coming. I wasn't walking into it. I built my own trap. Laura helped prepare a legal declaration. Statement of facts, backed by evidence. Forged title application. Fake notary stamp. Letters. Attempted property seizure. Smear campaign. Included screenshots from Sarah's messages. Mom's voicemails calling me a greedy manipulator. The lawyer's $150,000 demand letter. Didn't just file it in court. Sent a clean, readable version to every relative Mom contacted. Wrote a short message. Hi, I know things have been said. Before you draw conclusions, here are the facts. Backed by documents, not stories. Attached is everything you need to see. After this, I won't discuss it again. If you believe me, great. If not, your choice. But you'll have the full truth. Hit send to 27 contacts. Fallout was instant. Within hours, 5 relatives replied. Hadn't spoken to them in years. Most were apologetic. Some horrified. Aunt Linda, who used to dote on Lucas, called in tears. I didn't know, Ethan. I swear I didn't know. I'm so sorry. Didn't ask for apologies. Just said I hoped she understood why I did it. Not everyone bought it. 3 relatives, mom's side, doubled down. Claimed I manipulated the narrative. One said I made up the documents. Knew I couldn't win them all. But for every doubter, 5 others reached out. Thank you for telling the truth. Then the part I'd been waiting for. Reached out to Lucas's boss. Anonymously at first. Submitted a tip through their ethics line. Not vague, a full PDF report. Organized, labeled with exhibits. Attempted fraudulent house transfer. Misuse of legal documents. Potential real estate crime using their name. Thought it'd take a week. Took 2 days. Lucas's name was gone from their website by week's end. A college friend in the local real estate association told me. Works in compliance. Firm launched an internal audit after the complaint. Found other inconsistencies in Lucas's client files. He wasn't just fired. Reported to the state board. License frozen pending investigation. He tried calling me that day. 11 missed calls. Didn't answer a single one. That weekend, saw his Instagram post. Black screen, white text. Some people destroy your life and pretend they're the victim. Didn't name me, but didn't have to. Everyone who mattered knew the truth. But it wasn't over. 2 days later, got a formal notice from the county. A warrant was issued. Forged title application triggered legal consequences. Lucas charged with attempted property fraud. Submitting falsified documents to a government agency. Stared at the notice a long time. Numb. Didn't want to destroy him. Didn't want any of this. But he forced it. Now there were consequences. Arraigned quietly. No headlines, no big scene. Just a court date. A lawyer he couldn't afford. A future full of legal headaches. Probably no prison. Just probation, fines, maybe community service. But the record would follow him. Jobs harder to find. Trust harder to rebuild. Next time he tried to play savvy real estate guy. This would be his skeleton in the closet. Mom went silent after the evidence went public. Completely silent. No outreach. No apology. No more money demands. 2 months later, a letter came. Not from her attorney. Carefully worded. Withdrew all pending legal claims on the estate. Requested no further contact. She gave up. She knew she lost. Didn't feel joy. Didn't feel triumph. Felt free. That night, I went to the Victorian. Walked the hall slowly. Barefoot on the hardwood floors. Air smelled of cedar and old books. House was quiet. Peaceful. Mine. Stood in the den. Where Grandpa sat in his big leather armchair. Reading the paper. Whispered, I kept it safe, just like I promised. Think he would have been proud. Didn't just keep the house. Kept my dignity. Kept my future. Lucas lost his career. Mom lost her narrative. I gained something they never expected. The strength to stop being their victim. For the first time, I wasn't the quiet one anymore.